Welcome to the Gear Slum, your one-stop shop for all things guitar culture nonsense. I'm Aaron.
I'm Phil.
I'm Cole.
We slum it hard, so you don't have to. John C. Reilly.
And Danny McBride.
You know what? John C. Reilly, like, it sounds like a mom who's had like 2 glasses of wine and she's calling her 2 white children.
John C.
Reilly?
John C. Get in here.
John C.
So
John
I'm looking at Danny McBride's IMDb, and the very first thing he was in was a movie called All the Real Girls, and his character is named Bust Ass. So he is in Hot Rod. Okay, so
yes, he's in Hot Rod.
Before we started recording, we were talking
Hot
about
Rod.
Danny McBride, and we've come to the conclusion that I thought Danny McBride and John C. Reilly were the same person.
Which one did you not think existed, though? You didn't know that Danny McBride
Yeah, good question.
was a person.
Yeah, I didn't know Danny McBride, or I thought that John C. Reilly was the person in Superbad and Eastbound and Down and Hot Rod and stuff
So,
like
like,
that.
any
Pineapple
experience you had
Express.
with Danny McBride, you just absorbed into your knowledge of John
Or
C.
no,
Reilly.
I think it's actually I thought the name was John C. Reilly, but I saw more Danny McBride movies, and then when I saw things that had John C. Reilly, it's like, oh, that's that guy from Pineapple Express. He's hilarious.
Okay.
Because because John C. Reilly, like, he's probably in less like comedic movies at this point. Maybe
I don't know. He's been in a lot now. He's also in,
And he does do like
the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, like he's mostly been in stuff with Will Ferrell, right?
Comedy stuff.
They both
yeah.
have. But wait, you're saying John C. Reilly?
No, but Danny
Yeah.
McBride has done a bunch of like Apatow crew stuff too.
Yes,
Exactly. Yeah.
But he also freaking like wrote and the most
He's written a
recent
bunch of
Halloween
stuff.
movie, and
Yeah.
and he was in the most recent
Your
Alien
Highness.
movie.
He wrote Your Highness.
No,
Yeah, he did.
that's okay, but
You don't remember that one?
I do remember that one.
Oh.
But he was in. So, he said in this interview, he said that he was like, he got the job for Alien, the most recent Alien movie, and he was like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome. I'm like in a serious movie finally. Like I've wanted to do. Like I've got all these joke roles, but now I'm in this serious movie. You know, it's a totally different genre." And then they're like, "Yeah, so the first scene we're doing is you and James Franco," and he's like, "Oh crap." Because like everything up until that point is like every other thing he did was him and James Franco like smoking weed or
yes,
whatever.
exactly. Like, I don't want to be typecast here. Well,
Crap.
yeah. So he was
I
in
didn't
all this. He
even
was
know
in
that
all
movie
this like
existed.
serious stuff, but then he played the Sasquatch in Tenacious D.
What?
Like in the HBO show, how it ran.
John C.
That was
Reilly
like a
did?
million years ago.
Yeah, it was in '99.
You're talking
I didn't
about Reilly.
remember that because he's like wearing makeup the whole time.
Right, yeah.
But then I love the end of that episode when he sneaks into the club. You tell Tenacious D they kicked ass tonight. Who should I say said it? Well, tell him it was a friend. And then he comes back in a second later. Actually, tell him it was Sasquatch. They won't know who you're talking about if you say.
They both kind of have the same voice too, like that weird.
Yeah, like
Boy.
And the same build.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'm probably alone in thinking that they were literally the same person.
I could
But
see
I don't
one like
think I'm
market
alone in
correcting
thinking
the other
that they're
though.
similar.
Yeah, they occupy a very similar space.
But I've certainly seen way more things that have Danny McBride than John C. Reilly. But I think in my mind, like, things like Step Brothers and Anchorman stick out, and it's like, oh yeah, that's that hilarious guy from, Pineapple Express or whatever, or Hot Rod.
But have
Hot
you
Rod's
guys,
pretty underrated, isn't it?
I would agree
I've
that
never
it's
seen
underrated.
it, but I would probably agree.
But it's also
really funny. It
also
weird.
fits into the category that we talked about recently of the third act of the movie is like super dumb. It's all like all the setup is what's funny, and then the resolve of it is like not as entertaining.
I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, I'm sure like I know nothing about the like writing process for a movie, but if you picture the people who are writing movies that ridiculous, it's like not surprising. You know, like they probably also start projects on their house and don't finish them, you know.
Well,
I think it's just that the investment that you have in the characters is not really there, so then you try to make it pay off, and there's nothing to pay off.
But also, like if you think about
like you don't care.
Yeah, it's just funny.
But think about this too. It's like all of those SNL actors turned into, hey, here's a movie
it's
job.
like sketch comedy guys.
Yes, they're writing like 2-minute things.
Yeah,
and they're
like they need to get laughs immediately, and they get immediate
they're insanely
feedback 'cause they're
good
in front of a live audience.
They're insanely good at writing a 2-minute
into
thing.
a movie. It's weird. It's a weird idea.
Yeah, and so then it's like, okay, we want you to stretch that 2-minute thing. You know,
like
it is.
minutes.
It is kind of like that. You know, that Mitch Hedberg joke about, oh, you do comedy, can you write?
Yeah.
Like,
do you farm?
Yeah, you're a good cook. Do you farm? Like you're good on SNL. That being good on SNL does not mean you're going to be a good actor necessarily.
But
yeah,
I mean, it's probably some indication.
The MacGruber,
like, it is acting.
The MacGruber movie, when he says, "I'm going to put the best team together," and it's like a 20-minute stretch of like gathering the greatest team. Like, do you remember this?
No.
Oh, have you guys seen MacGruber?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's like 15, 20 minutes of like putting the best team together, and then he blows them up by accident.
Yeah.
That's
really
joke,
good.
Oh, that is such a great joke.
And
to
see,
like
that's
to just commit to like this is gonna go this long, and then to never return to it. Like to just go, I blew them up.
Then they just move on.
Yeah.
And it's great because that's such like well-worn territory or whatever, where it's like, oh, we got to put this band of misfits and ne'er-do-wells together, you know.
And then they're going to make it work, but instead...
MacGruber's one of those things that on its face looks like it would be terrible, to me at least. And then it ends up being so freaking funny.
Well, the premise, it's like, how could you stretch that out? Like, it's not possible to stretch that into a movie. There's no way.
But at the same time, when you make fun of... I mean, it's like the same thing that makes Spaceballs or like Robin Hood Men in Tights or any like spoof movie. It's like, well, you already have sort of a lot of source material to pull from if you're just spoofing an existing movie. And it's kind of the same way where they're just like spoofing they're kind of spoofing tropes, I guess. I don't know that they're spoofing any movie in particular, but it's not a straight spoof either. It's like it's totally original, but they can at least fall back on, you know, making fun of
conventions.
Yeah, making fun of conventions, exactly.
Yeah, I think the consistent beat in MacGruber sketches is just the MacGyver. He's like making a thing, and then he blows up, like the timer's ticking down, and then he messes something up and it blows up. That's the thing every time, right?
Which is original to it. Like that's its own thing.
Yes, and just repeating it is what makes it funny, right?
Because
like doing the same, having it end the same way every single time.
It's because you're so conditioned by like every TV show and movie that like the joke is going to be. It'll only they'll pull it off eventually, but it's like no, they just never do.
Well, it's also a direct reference, obviously, to MacGyver. So it's like
to what now?
MacGyver, McGuy.
What's that now? Come again?
Dude, John C. Reilly was in Days of Thunder.
Was he the?
He's the other driver. He's like the main.
Okay, so
villain,
that might be. He? This is like one of these Mandela.
Oh no, he's like his head of his pit crew or something.
This is like one of those Mandela effect things where like I thought that Days of Thunder and Ballad of Ricky Bobby were the same movie, and each of them is in one of the movies.
You thought Tom
I thought
Cruise
Tom
was
Cruise and Will
starring
Ferrell. Yeah.
You
I thought Tom Cruise
and Will Ferrell were the
was
same
like
person.
5 foot tall, black haired, dark skinned person was the same person as
Wait,
the
is-
6'5", like pink skin.
Yeah, remember it was Will Ferrell that was in Top Gun, right? Like that was him.
Yeah, dude, remember that? Remember that I would love to see the volleyball scene with Will Ferrell with his shirt off.
Remember
He
Will
has like
Ferrell's
the weirdest. Oh my gosh, he has the weirdest body. Like he has some. It must have been from getting his appendix out, but he's like just chubby enough that it makes his appendix scar like even worse. It looks like he had a C-section or something like that. Right. And you can see it when he does on the cowbell skit.
Yeah, you see it always.
Yeah, that's true. You
Yeah,
see it on
shirt off.
plenty. He loves man, Will Ferrell's the best.
Buck. He plays a guy named Buck Brotherton.
That sounds
On what? On Days of Thunder?
Yeah.
Gosh, that sounds like a
That sounds
He
like
is.
a joke,
He's-
man. How is that on
he's
Days
like-
of
he,
Thunder
like,
and
works
not
in the
on
pit
Ricky
crew.
Bobby? Buck
He works in the
Brotherton?
pit crew.
That
You
has
know,
to be on Ricky
if
Bobby.
they were awesome,
Brotherton.
they should have
Buck Brotherton.
they should have given his character the same name in the Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
He's not though.
Yeah.
It's John C. Reilly that's in Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
I know
He's in
but
both.
He's in both. I'm saying he should
Wait a
have had
second.
the same
Oh,
name.
you're saying
That's
John
what
C.
I've been
Reilly?
saying.
I thought you were saying Danny
Yes.
McBride was in Days of Thunder. Dang
No,
it.
Danny McBride was like 14
Guys,
years
I have
old
like
when
his
that movie came
actual
out.
mental illness, I think.
It's like you have face blindness, but it's with
I
names.
do, for
and
actors.
It's only certain names.
And it drives my wife insane because we'll be watching a movie and I'll say, "Oh crap, who is that? Who is that?"
You're actor blind. It's fine.
And then I'll finally figure out who I thought it was, and she's like, "Yeah, I guess that kind of looks like that person." But she doesn't actually talk to me like that. Otherwise, you know what would happen.
You would cry.
Yes. Dude, okay, so here's like one of the saddest titles ever. Let's see.
Like
It was
a film
on
title.
It was on John C. Reilly's thing. And it was this movie he was in apparently. Gosh dang it, where is it? It was Are You the Favorite Person of Anyone?
Oh yeah, that's from the Wolfen.
The huh? What's that?
The Wolfen.
the beeps, the squeeps, and the creeps.
What the
It was
what?
a short film. It was a short film on. So, are you familiar? This is like super, like, pretentious.
Yeah,
white
like poetry
nerd stuff.
master's degree territory.
Yeah. So you know McSweeney's, right?
Yes.
You know McSweeney's.
I'm aware of it.
So
I love that place.
they have a magazine called The Believer that they publish, and for a short time
Yeah, we all know.
For a short time, they had this like DVD series that they put out called The Wolfen, which is like a whale and a dolphin together, which was like
Of course it is.
It was like short films and documentaries on a DVD that like it was like a video magazine thing, and that was
Okay.
a short film on the first episode or the first series of The Wolfen, the first one.
But that's like such a I have no idea what the thing is about, but the title alone isn't it like heartbreaking?
It is heartbreaking.
Just the concept of, like-
he would like walk around and ask people, "Are you the favorite person of anybody?"
Okay, because his character is listed as man holding clipboard or something.
Yeah, man with a clipboard. It was Miranda July. I knew it was someone like.
Who was it? Was it John C. Reilly?
Yeah, John C. Reilly.
Okay, yeah.
And so
here
he
we
just
go.
goes around asking people, "Are you the favorite person of anybody?"
Dude, that is like
Obviously, the answer that you probably for almost everybody is no.
yeah, like I guess if you're married, like that's
Yeah,
maybe, but even then, it's like if you're being
You're like,
honest,
you have to
'cause,
wonder
like,
still.
people say how like, oh my spouse is my best friend, and it's like,
Yeah,
well, that's probably true in some cases, but it's also not true.
it's
in a
like
lot
they
of cases.
love you. I'm
Like
sure
you don't
your
have to
wife
be your
has a-
best friend necessarily.
Yeah, it is funny.
Are you the favorite?
There's
person?
also this really good documentary about Al Gore on that. On that.
Oh, really?
Wolfen. Yeah, where they like followed him around his house. It was like right after he lost to G-Dubs.
W,
Yeah,
our greatest president.
they're like, oh, if people had seen this, he probably would have won. Because it like really humanized him and like made him likable
interesting.
and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
That
And
is
it's
like,
oh, that was the problem. We didn't believe he was human enough.
But honestly, that was kind of like
that was the big part of the narrative. Yeah,
I know we don't want to get into that, but isn't that part of the narrative with Hillary Clinton too? Like, obviously, a lot of people think she's like corrupt and just a liar and everything. But
but that came later. Like that didn't really come out until Trump got into it and started saying those things. I mean, some people did, but it wasn't like huge mainstream idea thing.
So. When you're on, I just flew back.
Well, I guess the Benghazi.
By the way, I do have a story to tell from my flight.
I have some guitar stuff to talk about.
You have stories? We love stories here.
So sit back, relax, and listen to a story. Okay, so what was I going to say, though? Oh, like when I'll always download just like a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff onto my phone before I have long flights.
Yeah, Judge Judy stuff.
I just never know what I'm going to want to watch. But I ended up downloading this video. It was like the best of Weekend Update. There's no video. It's just like a still frame of Norm Macdonald. And it's all Norm Macdonald stuff. And it's like 3 hours long. And it's just this supercut of Norm Macdonald Weekend Update stuff. And a ton of like the jokes about Hillary Clinton were just about her being a liar. And I was thinking,
really?
When was that? Although there was a couple freaking hilarious jokes about like, I won't try to butcher them, but basically along the lines of like Bill Clinton wanting to get in touch with OJ because he wanted some advice on things, you know.
Jeez.
Oh, there was one
pretty dark.
One of them was when Bill Clinton came out against gay marriage. And it was like, yeah, he publicly renounced gay marriage. He also, or same-sex marriage. He said he's not too fond of opposite-sex marriage either.
That's a great joke, though.
It's so good, dude. Oh, man.
Stupid.
Okay, so we flew. So I was in Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro is how they say it. In Portuguese, R at the beginning of the word sounds like H. It's freaking weird.
Like Hoist Gracie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you say Rice Krispies?
Hoist Gracie.
Hoist.
Like hoisin sauce?
Hoist
Gracie.
Hoist Gracie. He's
from the Gracie family.
Yeah.
Horion Gracie.
Brazilian. There's a Brazilian of them.
Dude, there is, by the way. There's a lot of people there. So I was flying back. We flew back through JFK.
Hua, also a MMA guy. Shogun Hua.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, exactly.
If you play a stringed instrument, you owe it to yourself to check out the Gabriel Tenorio String Company. Every string from Gabriel features a round core, fully hand-wound, one at a time in Gabriel's shop on a machine he designed himself to make sure you get the best, most consistent tone from your guitar. Gabriel makes strings for electric and acoustic guitar, bass, mandolin, uke, bass six, banjo, and just about anything else you can think of strumming or plucking. Each set is specifically designed for your instrument to bring out the sound you always wanted to get out of it. Check out the all-nickel strings for a classic, mellow tone that feels broken in from day one and just gets better over time. I've had them on my telly for a little over a year now, and I just now feel like I need to replace them. I promise you, if you try these strings, you'll never want to play another brand again. Join the string cult today at thegts.co.
So I was flying back through JFK. When you fly in, like you go through customs at the first like American place you fly through, you know, and you have to get your bags and recheck them, which is always annoying. But our bags took forever, and we thought we had a long enough connection, but we seriously stood at the carousel for like 45 minutes waiting for our bags to come out, and then you have to go back through security again and recheck your bags and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I ended up having to run. Which, you know, I love running. I think that goes without saying. That, like, if I'm looking for something fun to do on a Friday night, it's running.
Yeah. You're an athlete. We all know that.
Wait, are you announcing your run for president?
Yeah. I love running for office, for public office. So I run, and I'm literally, like, I had to run straight from the security place. Didn't even like I loaded everything into my backpack, meaning like everything from my pocket, so I didn't have to like get it back out of the bin after security, and just ran with my laptop in one hand and my backpack in the other, and barely made it. Like they were just closing the door, and I was the last person on the flight. And I get on the flight and get to my seat, and it's an aisle seat. The window seat is occupied by a man about my size, and the middle seat is occupied by a woman who's larger than both of us. And I felt so bad for her because I know that feeling. She's sitting there. They're like about to close the door, and she has an empty seat next to her, and she's thinking, oh, man, I'm going to be able to put the armrest up and scoot away from this guy a little bit. And then I come strolling onto the plane, like huffing and puffing, sweating because I've just been running, you know. And, And she even she asked the stewardess, like, as soon as I sat down, she's like, is there anything we can do about this? Because, like, obviously the three of us are really big. Which is, like, I kind of give her props. Because she was, like, a young girl, you know, probably, like, late teens or early 20s, you know.
Millennial.
Like, the fact that she even...
No, she's not a millennial.
She's a Gen Z.
She's Gen Z.
She's a Gen Z.
Dude.
Total Gen Z.
No, her name was actually John C.
John Z. John Z.
John C.
And,
hey. Yeah, John C.
Hey, John C. Get on over here.
To me to
finish your Capri Sun.
A new segment. All right, this is a segment I call Name the List.
That was my segment called Fat Travels with Cole Duke.
I'm gonna give you a list, and
Fat
then
Travels
you have to
would be a good bad name.
So you've seen $100,000 Pyramid, right?
Nope.
Yes.
No. So what happens is you get a category.
No, when Phil watched it was like the $10,000 Pyramid.
Oh, you've seen $10,000 Pyramid, right? Actually, it was originally the $10,000.
I know.
That's Phil.
Stupid.
And then it was like 20,000, and then it was 100,000. Anyway, here's how it goes. You get there's a category that you know, but your partner doesn't know, and then you list things in that category to get them to guess the category.
Is that how it always is?
That's the final only.
Okay, because initially you're giving them clues to get them to try and guess a word, right? Or
are you making
Cole
and I play this game with each other?
No, I will list the category. We're pretending. I'm just saying that's for reference only. I'm gonna make the list, and then you try to guess the list. Right? You just guess the category.
And it would be like a famous person with just some rando, right? Like with a contestant?
Often, yes. Yes.
Have you seen when Kristen Wiig, I can't remember who she's playing, like Audrey Hepburn or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
When they do that?
It's like a fake
crap.
person, but yeah. She goes on game shows.
Oh, my gosh.
This, like,
she always says the
old
word.
actress.
Like she just says the word that you're not supposed to say.
It's password, huh? That's on password, though. The password is...
Oh.
Yes, that's...
Oh, because what is...
She's
one
so
of them...
funny.
Oh.
Oh, I'm going to say it. Like,
yeah.
she literally... She's trying not to actively, but she can't. She always says it.
She can't stop herself.
She's so funny.
Guys, Kristen Wiig, she's a pretty funny person.
All right, well, this was going to be a really short thing, and now it's gone on. So now I feel like the bar's been raised, and I am not equipped to meet.
Don't worry, the bar
standard.
has not been raised.
But, okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Fishing. Deciding who gets to be in a movie.
Things that casting directors. Casting.
Okay, yes, you're right. It's things that you could do while listening to a podcast, to which you could use the hashtag Castin and Castin.
That was worth it. That was a good payoff.
Fishing. Deciding who gets to be in a movie. That's all I came up with.
Yeah,
I was hoping you would guess it.
It's basically just
Casting.
just like
casting.
homonyms. That was this week's episode of homonyms. Are they even I guess it's homonyms. Not really, because it's just the same word, just used in two different things.
Yeah, I don't know what you call that. I'm sure there's a name for it.
Homonyms.
I mean, they are homonyms.
Homina.
They're not.
Is that what you were doing, Phil?
Yes, that's what I was doing.
Auga.
Homonym.
So one other thing, when I was in Brazil, caught a ton of regional Pokemon that aren't available here. Super stoked about it. Just want everyone to know that. Thanks
Regional
for sharing.
Pokemon.
Thanks for sharing in my bliss.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon. I'd like to thank Sharon. I want to thank Johnsy.
Obviously, shout out goes to Quincy every time.
Dude,
Sharon
Johnsy, that'd be
Mumbles.
like JAWNXI or something.
Quincy. I always say it wrong.
Quincy, yeah.
Quincy. And then what was the first one you said? Well, Sharon.
Sharon.
Sharon. Johnsy.
Sharon.
Quincy.
I didn't butthole any necks though when I was going through security.
Oh man, have you guys seen? You guys familiar with the Ocean's 11
we
pedal?
might have one or two listeners that weren't around the first time
when that happened,
and they're
Yeah.
really confused, which I'm fine with. But I just
yeah,
Dude,
Just
if you think about
butthole
it,
the neck.
like if you heard the term butthole someone's neck, you could think they were talking about giving someone a tracheotomy. Because you're kind of like putting a little butthole in their neck.
Oh, that is so gross.
I told you about that hockey player that
That's
we
the
went
worst.
and visited on my mission. Did I tell you about that?
No.
No.
You mean Rocky
They were playing-
We pronounce
he-
it Rocky here.
He hockey. He was playing against the Canadiens. I think he was on like the Panthers or something like that. But he got hit in the neck with a puck,
Some stupid team.
so he had to have
yeah.
an emergency tracheotomy.
Dang.
And he was a member of the church, and so he asked us to come give him a blessing at the hospital. And
'Cause he
then
was gonna
we
die?
just talked about hockey the whole time. And the guy I was with, he was like an amateur, like semi-pro hockey player, and was like super serious about it. He was from Canada, and so they talked forever about like this guy was just in heaven, talking to this actual NHL player. You know,
Revan.
this guy was in heaven. Heaven.
That's really cool. Was it like a famous player? I mean, he was on the
No.
Panthers, so
yeah, like I
wasn't like
this
Yarmir.
guy. This guy recognized his name and everything, but he was in the league for a long time, but he wasn't like well known by any means. And of course, he said Wayne Gretzky was the best player he ever played against, which you kind of have to say that, but it's also true. Like,
Yeah.
it is kind of
But see,
crazy
like-
that does anyone argue? Like, nobody will agree who's the best basketball player ever.
Right.
Or
Well, I mean, there's like Gordie Howe maybe, or like Brett
yeah,
Hull or something.
yeah,
but, like-
Gordie Howe is a name I hear all the time.
but that's like the guys who say Bill Russell is the greatest ever, and it's like, yeah, that's because back then, like, I don't know, you could make the same argument for like Sidney Crosby, maybe that like the competition's harder now than it's ever been, I guess. But Gretzky
Yeah.
was just like, he was kind of like Jordan, where in his time he was so much on another level from everyone else, you know.
Yeah, yeah. He was just like playing a different game almost.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Well, everyone. I've heard like multiple people say this. But they're like, most people will see like where the puck is, but he knew where the puck was going to be.
Totally. Or
Like,
people will
he's, like, a
say
step
that like
ahead of the game.
it's like he was up in the booth and he had like a bird's eye view
Yeah.
of all of the ice. Like he knew where
It's
everyone
crazy.
was at all times for some reason.
Just wild.
I mean, it's kind of like when people talk about Babe Ruth, like he had some crazy eyesight where he could just like see faster than other people.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't go to
Yeah.
movies because he could see the individual frames and stuff.
oh, really?
Yeah. Which I
mean,
know
movies
some
sucked
people.
back then anyway. So
What's that?
movies sucked back then anyway. Nobody
Yeah, it's like
lost.
that could have just been a function of the crappy projectors and stuff they had. It's like, oh no, he couldn't go watch the movie where the train comes toward the screen or whatever.
like an hour.
I think we all know what type of movies Babe Ruth is going to see. Let's be honest.
Babe Ruth. It's time for another installment of Stash It, Mash It, or Trash It. Y'all ready for this? Boom, 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 boom. All right, I have two categories for you. Which one do you want first, A or B? You
B.
choose. All right, so B is the Fuzz. I'm calling this one Fuzz Plus. You have three options. Your three options are: number one, I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce this. I'll skip it.
New neighbor.
Number one. No, number one is the Billy Gibbons Octavia fuzz from MXR. This is a fuzz pedal with one foot switch, two knobs, one for fuzz, one for volume, and a 7-band EQ.
This thing is
What on
insane.
earth? The knobs are on the top, meaning
Yes.
like.
Also, it's massive.
Oh,
Is
You
it?
can't tell.
Oh yeah, you
from,
can.
like,
I mean, the foot switch does look small.
Oh my gosh.
the input and output are directly underneath the knobs, like they're stacked above each other.
Whoa! So the knobs are on the top. So it has top jacks,
Oh,
but then above the jacks, it also
but
has.
there's
knobs.
an angle.
Yeah, it's angled. It's like an old style, like fuzz box. It's probably like it's a pedal of size. We'll say it's really big.
Why would you put
Oh,
the foot switch
dude,
so far?
that's like a hard angle on it too. It's like
yeah, it's like a 40-degree slope, 30 degrees maybe, but it's big. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because there's all that empty space,
yeah.
and they put the foot switch like right next to the easily breakable sliders.
Yes.
dude, that's so weird. And if you look, like somebody, like there's a picture of one taken apart, and so much of the interior.
Oh, really?
I think it's based on an actual. Like there's
I'm
an
pretty
old
sure it's
pedal.
like an old Octavia fuzz that they just added the EQ section to.
Yeah, but they didn't move the foot switch down because the old pedal, like if you look at the gut shot,
probably.
only like 30% of the pedal has anything inside of it.
Yeah,
That's so weird.
which is how a lot of pedals used to be. Like the
Yeah,
old
yeah.
big muffs are super. The circuit takes up like maybe 10.
Boss was kind of the exception
Not
where
even.
most of their pedals, like the circuit board would take up most of the interior, you know.
Yeah, they were like compact, I guess.
Okay,
Crazy.
so that's one of our choices.
So that's your first choice. We'll call that the basic choice. Dude, it's so big. You gotta look at like a
ridiculous.
video where it's like
Or
next
like-
to someone. It's like a size 6 shoe. It's like as big as a size 6 men's shoe.
Yeah, it's like having
huge.
another wah pedal on your board or something.
Yeah, practically. All right, that's your first option. Your second option is the
Size 6 shoe. Size 6 shoe. That's my vocal warm ups. Size 6 shoe.
I like it. I can't remember the name of this pedal. It is the Kangra
Watch
Kangra
yourself.
from the Kangra filter fuzz from Walrus Audio. This is your second option. This is a fuzz pedal with one foot switch, 4 knobs, and 2 foot switches. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's Kangha.
4 knobs, 3
Kangha.
switches. So it's basically a fuzz pedal with a built-in like envelope filter.
Ugh.
And that's what
which,
the other switch does?
yes, filter fuzz. So you can run either one independently or both together. You can run the fuzz by itself, just the filter,
Dang it.
or both.
I was going to make a joke about the label on the foot switch, and I couldn't remember what that ridiculous one said.
What was it? Engage? No.
Something like that. Anyways. Viewers, write in. Tell us what that...
It was on the
Dude.
rose. I remember it was on the
Yeah.
Eventide rose.
That's
That
right.
freaking artwork. Okay, continue.
It is cool. It's really
I feel
pretty.
like I want to buy an Eventide Rose just because we have to now, you know.
I feel like you should.
Dude, they're $300.
I feel like you should buy one.
active.
Oh, it just says active. Yeah. Active.
so weird.
I think you should buy one and then be like super PW and have someone rehouse it.
The Kangra.
That's
No,
what
the
you should do.
The Eventide?
Yes.
Oh, the Eventide.
I could rehouse it in the same box as like a...
Is
freaking-
Kangra like a thing? Is that like a real mountain?
I don't... Oh, Kangra? Oh, I wonder.
The Kangra is the most populous district of the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh.
So it's like a region.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Dharamshala. It's where Dharamshala is, so it's like, yeah, there's mountains there.
Is
It's
that
like
where
it's like in the Himalayas, isn't it?
is that where
I don't know.
Bruce Wayne trained?
Yes, probably. I don't know. No, that wasn't in India.
It's the home of the Masrur Temple.
That was like
also
Nepal
known as the
or
Himalayan
something.
pyramids.
It must have been like in Nepal.
Somebody's freaking out right now that we haven't said the name of the...
It's pronounced Nepal.
Of what?
The name of Batman's...
Ra's al Ghul?
Thank you. But that's the bad guy, right?
That's the guy,
name.
though. That's not the place, yeah.
No, but like the team of... Like
the
the
League
group
of Shadows?
them. What?
League of Shadows.
League of Shadows?
Did something
Did
happen
you
to your
die,
mic,
Phil?
or did you both say that at the same time?
We both said it at the same time.
Okay.
It's this new character we've been doing. It's like those people
that
that
when
can
you're
sing.
in the League of Shadows, we all say it at the same time. That's
It's
how
like
it
those
works.
people that can sing more than one note at a time.
Oh, yeah.
It's inward singing.
It's in their throat. Gun Street Wiring Shop represents a brand new approach to the guitar wiring market. From their nothing is impossible philosophy to their community first attitude, Gun Street Wiring Shop is the premier maker of guitar wiring harnesses. Based in Central Oregon, Gun Street only does one thing: make your guitar sound and play better. Bored with your standard switching? Gun Street. Need more options? Gun Street. Looking to nail that classic tone? Gun Street. You want to try something that's never been done before? Gun Street. Sean's always coming up with new circuit designs. He's always down to make something special to fit your exact needs. So hit him up now, gunstreetwiringshop.com. Turn your SG into an OMG, your Les Paul into a More Paul, your Telecaster into a Telestar Blaster. And as always, members of the Street Crew get an extra discount at everything at gunstreetwiringshop.com.
And then as I succeeded, and you can't believe I'm singing.
Always welcome singing.
Oh, man.
Guys, Tenacious
Okay,
D,
so that's
like,
your second option. Oh,
Can
go
I
ahead.
just say that Jack Gray video? I didn't even watch it yet, and I don't know. I don't have high expectations for the song itself, but I just love the fact that they got together and called themselves Jack Gray, Jack White, and Jack Black. It's obvious, but at the same time, it's very good.
I think what I appreciate about the video is that Jack Black and Kyle Gass do not take themselves seriously in the least.
No,
And Jack White seems like at least his like persona
yeah,
is very much
super.
so.
Like he does nothing ironically.
Yes, he's taken himself very seriously, and so the having them all in the same room.
But then it
Is-
seems like they get along very well too.
Oh yeah, they clearly like
There's
they
like
clearly
mutual
respect
respect
each other.
somehow, which
Yes.
is that's what's funny is that they respect each other when they're so different. You know,
Yes, and that's
It's
what
like-
makes it entertaining.
it's like
to
John
me.
C. Reilly and I can't even remember the guy's name now. Gosh dang it,
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride.
Tom Cruise.
I'm sorry, guys.
You know, the McBride triplets. John C. Reilly and Danny McBride.
Johnson McBride,
John C. Reilly and
Riley
Danny McBride.
McBride.
All right, you ready for your third option? Your third
Yes.
option
Oh, we're
is
still
the
doing
Seymour Duncan Fuzz analog fuzz synthesizer. This is a fuzz pedal with 9 knobs, 3 switches, and tap tempo.
Sorry,
Oh,
say
yeah.
it again. It's
All the great fuzz pedals have tap tempo.
Who makes it?
Seymour Duncan Fuzz, Fooz.
Oh, dude, it's an LFO signature pedal.
Yeah, so this is a fuzz pedal.
Like girls who wear Abercrombie and Fitch. Take her if I have one wish.
Oh, I think it's Fly When Girls Drop By for the summer.
That's such a great song. We can all agree that is a great song that stood the test of time.
He literally says, I like girls who wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
Like, of all the... like, talk about dating a song, you know? It's pretty great.
Yeah, I've dated many songs in my time.
Bad dates.
Bad dates. Okay, so it's...
this is a fuzz pedal
So
with
it also has a filter.
with also a filter, but that filter you can really craft it and do lots of different
I
things.
should
with
hope
it.
so with this many
So you
freaking
can make it
knobs.
like a
Okay.
Chill, bro.
Dude.
You can make it like a tremolo or kind of
More
like a
knobs
wah
than
thing, or like you can do whatever you want. So that's where the tap tempo comes in, because the tap tempo applies to the filter section, not the fuzz section. So you can tap in the speed, to be exact, what you want. It also has an expression in. It's a little bit bigger than the other ones, but it does.
Is it
look
bigger
pretty
than
cool.
the?
Well, it's not bigger than. Yeah, maybe not. That's
Somehow it's not bigger.
Than the BG7. BG
This has every reason to be bigger than that Billy Gibbons pedal. And somehow
Yeah,
it's not.
if you look,
Honestly, it looks like, and it seems like it should be like an Earthquaker pedal,
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
not Seymour
You're right.
Duncan.
Like, first
But
of all, Seymour
we
Duncan,
are.
like, the only thing I knew about Seymour Duncan is that drive pedal. What's it called? Or no, the
the 805.
The trails. Do they make the Vapor Trails?
The Vapor Trails, yeah.
That's a delay, isn't it?
Yes. It's an analog delay. It's like a direct response to the carbon copy,
Yeah, yeah.
which I always thought it seemed cooler. I've never played one, but I've always wanted to.
Yeah, I'll see it. Like, it's one that when it pops up locally, I'm like, maybe I'll go buy that.
The thing I liked about it is like the time knob, I think, is clear and has an LED inside of it, so it like flashes with this speed.
Oh, serious?
Like the actual knob, yeah.
That's smart.
can we say
Yeah, it is.
at this point, you said you're keeping track of what we have chosen, right?
Yes, I have a
You have a
spreadsheet.
spread-
Not a spreadsheet. Well, I do have a
want to see the
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet so bad. Okay.
You have it. I sent it to you.
Okay. Well,
You
I
can
wanna
see it anytime. Well,
Okay,
you can. I'm
I'm
just
just telling
saying
you I want to.
can. Well, I'm just saying.
Am I not
you
allowed
can.
to tell you my wants, Aaron?
You can, but the way that you expressed it was
Guys, I want a Diet
You
Mountain Dew
didn't.
so bad. And so I'm going to drink some right now.
Aaron, I want a sip of coffee so bad.
okay. All right, so you got a mash one, stash one, trash one. I think I know what I'm going to do.
I'm 100% decided.
Okay, everyone's trashing the Billy Gibbons one, right?
Yes.
Dang it.
No, I'm not.
Okay, good. Oh, good. Whew. Dude, also, Seymour Duncan, I think people sleep on them because they're like
A pickup company?
pickup company, but they have some really cool pedals.
You said that.
That's what's...
pickup company?
Yeah, it is weird. Yeah.
Like the Dark Sun, I think is really cool. This delay reverb, their Palladium. I think
It's
people
kind of
it a
like
lot.
the Fender pedals. Like, on one hand, they benefit from the fact that the name is so recognizable, but on the other hand, since they're not recognizable for pedals, you just kind of ignore them, you know?
Yeah, I bet I would wager that they're more successful in the mainstream and less so in like
I'm sure, yeah.
place like the
I'm sure Guitar
section of
Center
the market
sells
where
a ton
people
of
are
them.
like super into pedals. Yeah,
Oh, that reminds me of another story
like Boss too.
from the airplane.
Boss,
Remind
Seymour
me to
Duncan.
tell this story from the airplane. But first, let's finish our thing.
Why don't you tell it from your house?
No, I got to wait until I'm on the airplane. again.
Hubbard.
Ya burnt.
Yeah, burnt. All right. Dash, mash trash.
Okay.
Yeah, Cole, go ahead.
I'm mashing the Seymour Duncan because that thing looks wild. And
Okay.
I'm stashing the Billy Gibbons. And then I'm trash just because I don't have a pedal board that's big enough to fit it. And then I'm trashing the Walrus. Part of it is like the
Okay.
Walrus and the Seymour Duncan
Kind of do the same thing.
are similar enough that like, but I do
point.
like the idea of fuzz pedals because fuzz reacts in a very unique way to EQ and to other like modulation. So to
Yeah.
build it into the pedal so that it can control how it reacts is a good idea. Like if it's done well, I could see it doing way better than having a fuzz pedal on your board either before or after one of these types of effects, you know.
That is true. I'm kind of like, I think I'm directly in line with you. I'm going to mash the Seymour Duncan because it's amazing. I'm going to stash the Octavio because it's an octave up.
And
that EQ
and
is
having
pretty
EQ,
cool.
having EQ on a fuzz seems like it would be very useful.
I feel
like
really
you-
bad saying this, but I'm going to trash the Walrus audio pedal.
You'd probably learn a lot about fuzz just like messing around with the EQ on it too, I bet.
Yeah, I bet.
Is it before or after the fuzz, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to look that up while we're talking. The graphics on it are actually pretty cool too.
Man,
though,
I don't know, though.
On the Octavia.
Here's the thing. I think that the Congra is cooler than the Billy Gibbons one, but I think the Foos is cooler than both. And like you said, the fact that they're so similar makes me think that. But, man.
Oh, did you
how
notice
does the game work?
the actual
That's
name?
what I'm trying to figure out. What does the game force me to trash?
The actual name of the pedal is Siete Santos.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it's called the
I know
Siete
it says it on
Santos
there, but
Octavio Fuzz. Oh man,
How did
I
you
don't
not know that, Aaron?
I don't know what that means.
When
I
I
don't
looked
know
it
what
up
that
on-
refers to.
It's just like Seven Saints, but it's 7-band EQ. I don't know if Seven Saints is like a
That's what I'm saying. I don't
Billy
know if
Gibbons
that is
reference or if
something.
that's like
yeah,
a-
yeah.
Oh
or-
my gosh.
Is that a band?
You guys,
That's what I was wondering.
have you mentioned that when it's on, that the LED is on the sliders?
Yeah,
On each
Oh,
end
yeah.
of the
It
freaking
is good.
sliders?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Which is like
gosh.
a common
On each, well, it's not each end. It's like,
on the slider. It's on the like
Yeah.
the knob
Yes,
itself.
on each end, Aaron, of the slider.
Like that's a common thing you'll see on like
like
studio
the end, like
gear.
the tip.
Yes,
I
the
see what you're
tip.
saying.
It's just the tip.
I thought you were saying it was like at the top and the bottom,
No, Aaron.
like on
Aaron,
each
that's
end
not what I was saying. You freaking word
of the
twister.
slider.
Well,
No, I just
that is what you
misunderstood.
said.
meant
Shut up, Cole.
you mean on the end of each slider.
That's
is
what
you
I
meant.
said.
The end as you're looking from the bottom up. It's the end.
Not each end of the slider.
That changed me.
Okay.
Here's something weird.
Back in 1968, Jimi Hendrix introduced the bearded one, the Reverend Billy F. Gibbons, to the searing, sizzling magic of the Octavio Fuzz. It's been one of Billy's toys ever since. So yeah, it's some crazy old pedal.
It's the Octavio Fuzz is like very well known.
But
Wait,
then it says we also went ahead and added the modern convenience of an AC power jack. They must mean DC, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it takes 9 volts DC. Why would they say AC on the site? That's so dumb. Like that's
They're
the
so
opposite.
Wait.
dumb.
So, is this? So is Billy Gibbons the dude from? God, why am I blanking?
ZZ
Don't tell
Top?
him.
Yes.
Oh,
Ah, you told him.
sorry.
Cat bar.
That's who that is.
Yes.
It
He was
is,
bros
yes.
with Jimi Hendrix. That's cool. I didn't know that.
He knew him. Apparently, met him.
They were contemporaries.
Is that surprising just because he's a white guy from the South?
No, I think it's surprising
It's like, I
because
didn't see
like
him.
he's alive,
Yeah, exactly. Because
but he's also old as hell.
So it seems
so-
like yeah,
Yes,
he's really old.
very old. He's also like pretty tight with Kid Rock apparently, which that's not surprising at all. On one hand, because they look the same, but they're from such different worlds. You know.
Do you know how old Billy Gibbons is?
81.
I would say like 70s, 75.
69, dude.
Dead, bruh.
That's surprising. I mean, I was
That's surprising.
being like over the top
He
with
looks
81, but
he looks so much older than
that's
60.
true. He does look a lot older. But like 69 means
When did Jimi Hendrix die? That's a good question. Jimi Hendrix
70s,
died.
70 something. He was in his 70s, right?
well, yeah, because
Yeah. He died in 1970.
he
so
played
he was,
Woodstock.
which means Billy Gibbons was like
Yeah,
only
he
like
was, like,
19.
young.
He had to have been, yeah.
He would have only been like 18 or 19. So I don't know if he
And-
like
now that I'm thinking about it, he doesn't even necessarily look old. He has a beard that basically covers his entire face.
And he's
so
always
it's kinda
wearing
hard to
sunglasses
even
and
tell.
almost always wearing a hat.
And it's the same beard he's had for like 100 years, so you kind of don't know how old he looks. Oh, dude. Oh, look at this old picture of Billy Gibbons. We'll have to put this in the group.
So I think it's the kind of situation where like this young guy just meets Jimi Hendrix and not like they were like friends. Because he would have basically been like a kid.
What? Whoa. Okay, with the sunglasses off, he looks crazy old though.
Does he?
Yeah. So
Look at
it
the
says
thing
Jimi Hendrix
Cole just sent
introduced Billy Gibbons. So someone that's 69 years old was born in 1950, I guess.
He looks
Yeah,
like
he was
Willem
only
Dafoe.
18. But it says like he introduced Billy Gibbons to the Octavio Fuzz. That may mean he personally introduced him to it, or it may mean like
he
Jimi Hendrix
listened to
was
him.
playing it, and so that's how he knew about it.
I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. I guess that's true.
Well, I read something else that said he was lucky enough to spend some time with him, which makes me think like they met and
jammed.
he's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
This pedal, I'm going to... Because when did ZZ Top start? They were probably around already.
1969.
Yeah, so they were like...
Okay, Aaron.
Oh, okay. So he began his career in the Moving Sidewalks, who recorded Flash and opened 4 dates for the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Okay, so he was just like an opening. They were just the opener, and so he just like kind of lucked out early on in his career.
Just the opener. Openers are worthless.
But you know what I'm saying, like
I'm just kidding.
And it was only for 4 dates, so it was probably like he was the local. They were the local band that opened.
The local talent.
Aaron.
Which is kind of wild that like then he also went on to be that popular.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances of that, you know?
Aaron.
It's true.
I'm going to mash the foos.
Okay.
I'm going to stash the Octavio.
The Congra. Oh, really?
And I'm going to trash the Kangra.
This
So
is the
we
first
all
time
did
we've
the same
all
thing?
been
And here's
in
the
agreeance.
and I don't care if this makes anyone mad. I was going to trash the Octavio.
It's because you guys all copied.
The
But
LEDs put him over the edge.
Hot damn, those LEDs.
not only did we all do the same thing, but Aaron started by saying we're all just gonna trash the Billy Gibbons, and then none of us did.
But here, okay,
Because when you, like on the surface, you're like, yeah, that's dumb. But then when you dig into it, it's kind of a cool pedal. It's ridiculous, but they're all ridiculous. But it's also really cool.
Like a fuzz with an envelope filter. Like, yeah, that's not like a super. Yeah, it's like an always on pedal, you know.
Tap tempo fuzz.
okay.
Yeah, of course. It just sweetens my tone a little bit.
So, Aaron, if you start running out of ideas for pedal or for gear categories, you could start doing band members.
Yeah, like signature models,
like actual human beings to be.
Yeah.
Oh, like
to be like in our
Travis
super band.
Barker, Mark Hoppus.
Here's your three drummers.
Players.
Here's your
Here's
three
your
drummers
yes.
to choose from. This episode is brought to you, of course, like every episode, by Sinusoid Pro Audio Couture. I first heard of Sinusoid a million years ago when they introduced their sliver patch cables. Up until that point, you basically had two options for patch cables. You had really big things that took up a ton of space, or you had solderless cables, which are sometimes unreliable. People have weird feelings about them. But the sliver kind of melded those two things together and gave us a new generation of patch cable. It's essentially the smallest soldered connector around, which makes it perfect for almost every situation, whether you're a home musician, a touring, working muso, a studio player, or you just want your board to look good. The sliver is there. It's tiny, it's reliable, it's pretty dang close to being the perfect patch cable. They also come in lots of fun colors. You can give an orange, green, red, yellow, blue, or the tried and true black. If you haven't tried them yet, check them out. Sinusoid.com. Look for the slivers. They really are the coolest patch cables around. Well, that's interesting that you bring that up because that leads me kind of into my next topic, my next category, which is tuners. And here are your three options.
First, let me tell this story. This guy that I sat next to on the plane going to Brazil.
To Brazil. Tuber.
Yeah, to Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
He like runs. He has this company that does like online. It's like an online university basically. Mm-hmm. But he was asking me what we do, and I said, "Oh, I'm going down there to work on the temple." And he's like, the church is really big in Brazil, so everyone's at least familiar with it, like what it is. And he was asking, like, are they more similar to Catholics or more like Protestants? And I said, well, they're more like Protestants. They kind of came out of the, they're somehow a byproduct of the Protestant Reformation and everything. And then he's like, oh yeah, and a lot of those Protestant churches grow pretty big, and it seems like they are more relatable for young people than the Catholic Church. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That like the Catholic Church, you almost associate it with old people. And he was like, yeah, and they're always like, is there something about coffee that like all these Protestant churches are like really obsessed with coffee? And I was like, oh, that's funny that you mentioned that, and that he has like no affiliation with any church, has never been to one of these churches, and somehow he is familiar with the fact that like all these Protestant churches are obsessed with coffee.
That's really funny.
I thought that was so great. So you guys are doing good. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
That's the thing that we're known for.
Exactly.
It's
like, oh, and then they also believe that Jesus is the Son of God and he's our Savior. But mostly
not living the life Jesus called us to live, but
exactly
a mild obsession with coffee.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready?
Great.
Yes.
Here are your tuner options. Your first tuner option is the Boss TU12EX chromatic.
Dork.
This is a handheld tuner.
You put it in your hand?
It's a TU12X. Yeah, it has AccuPitch. It has like a little needle.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, dude, this is like the tuner that I had when I was taking guitar lessons in high school.
Yeah, it's red. It has a built-in mic.
This is the tuner that when you buy your first guitar...
But you can plug into it. Yeah, it comes with it.
I wasn't going to say that.
It also has... no, it's not, though. This is like a nicer version.
When you buy your first guitar...
It's like a good one.
The 19-year-old at Guitar Center says, well, you're going to have to get a tuner. And you might as well get the best one there is. This one.
Yeah.
The Boss.
For $25.
Well, that remains to be decided. Here's your second option.
So this Boss one was $100 new.
Oh my gosh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That makes me so angry.
Your second option is Gibson's Robo-Tuners. That's your second option.
We could, if we choose that, we can have it on our mash.
On all your guitars.
All
our guitars? Ooh.
Yes.
Even the ones we trashed?
It's your only tuning option. Yes.
Even the ones that they don't even make Robo-Tuners for that configuration of headstock. They will make
even
them.
like on a Fender.
Ooh, on a Fender. She's hilarious in that movie.
On like a
scary movie.
On a Fender.
On like a
your
Music
third,
Man.
All right, you ready? Your third tuning option is to tune by ear based on tones given to you by your keyboard player.
You idiots.
Those are your three options.
Those are all so inconvenient.
You have to stash one, mash one, and trash
I hate
one.
you so much.
God.
Okay. My options are ready to go.
Oh,
Go for it.
I already gave them to you.
I mean, my choices.
His choices.
Oh yes,
I have made my decision.
Your rankings,
And now, would you
you
like
might
to
say.
hear what my decision is? Okay.
Yes, I would.
I would like to mash Robo-Tuners. I would like to stash the Boss TU12E9er.
Uh-huh.
And I would like to trash
the keyboard player.
not having a keyboard player. I would like to trash the keyboard player plunking out my correct notes for me. Is this thing on?
Those are great options.
Well, you gave them to me, so.
Am I hearing
I
other
mean,
people?
great choices. Sorry, those are great choices. Not options. They're good options too, but they're great choices.
No, they're terrible options.
They are all terrible
but
options.
They're good
I
choices.
did my best with what I
They're
had.
very entertaining options. Just
Okay,
so you
here's-
know, you can choose to have the keyboard player tune you up without them actually being in the band. They can just be like there only for tuning purposes. That's fine.
And then you got a fan. You always have at least one audience member.
Yeah.
Will they stick around to see your whole set?
Yeah, because you might have to like retune between songs.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And they would just get up on stage, and like the sound goes through the PA and everything too. It's not like it's just going to your interface. You can tune off of it.
Yeah, it's in the house.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about this tuner that like maybe this is on other tuners and I haven't noticed it. It actually labels the LEDs, meaning the one in the middle when you're in tune is labeled 440, and then they're labeled 439, 438 below it, 441, 442 above it. So it's actually telling you how many hertz off you are, which I don't think I've ever seen a tuner that actually has units on the LEDs.
Yeah,
It's kind of
that's
sweet.
interesting.
I love units.
So many units.
Knobs, units, love them.
It also has drop tuning support.
Yeah, totally. And you can adjust to like you can like tune to other pitches or whatever. I'm gonna. Oh man, this is so dumb, Aaron.
Also, I didn't mention this. It has a battery saving auto off feature.
Oh, that's really nice.
So if you're Canadian,
How big is this thing? It's pretty small. It like barely has room for the two jacks.
it's probably like two by 6,
yeah, something like that.
roughly.
Yeah, it's like the size of like a really weird deck of cards.
Oh, I was pretty close. It's 2 1/8 inches by 5 13/16 inches.
Holy crap! You're very close. Yeah, that was like if this is like something you're using in construction, it would just be they would just call it a 2x6, and then this nominally 2x6. I'm gonna stash the RoboTuners just because I want to know the logistics of that. Like I just have a closet full of a bunch of RoboTuners that I can put on my guitars if I want to, and I'll mash this little handheld tuner.
Okay, and you're gonna trash the keyboard player.
Trash the keyboard player.
So you're copying
That's
me.
what I'm gonna. No,
No,
you
I
flipped
didn't.
the top two. Now I have to copy one of you idiots.
I flipped it and reversed it.
You put it down, flipped it, and reversed it. Put the thing down, flipped it.
My
and
neck, my
reversed it.
back.
I'm gonna also trash the keyboard player just because you can never like get their attention to actually play the note you want them to play, and then they always want to,
they're
move
like
on to the
noodling.
next one before you're
And
ready.
you're like, no, do it again.
And then if
It's
you're
like,
just
dude.
and then the freaking bassist will be noodling on something, and it's like all we can hear right now is the bass. So
Bro,
stop.
just bang that A and let me tune. Keep banging it.
Yikes.
I'm gonna.
I want to be in your band.
I'm gonna also mash the boss. No, I'm gonna mash the I'm gonna mash the boss and stash the RoboTuners. It's crazy. Stupid RoboTuners.
The problem with the RoboTuners,
I just don't trust them.
yeah, like they have the ability to screw things up.
Yeah. Like they're less. The handheld one is less convenient, but if it's not tuning properly, that's.
But
even
it's
more
worst case scenario.
inconvenient.
Yeah, the worst case scenario for RoboTuners is it like breaks one of your strings because it goes wild trying to tune up or whatever. Like when the 2015 Gibsons were like in shops and everything, half of them that you would pull off the wall. I remember it because I know I've talked about this a million times, but there was that big that guy who stole like 20 guitars from our local guitar center, and they caught him like a half hour later, but as he was stealing them, he had to like drag them under the security gate. So they were all just jacked up, and it was all these Gibsons. And so they just put them back on the wall and would sell them. And some of them had like significant scratches, like all the way through the finish, and they were like $100 off the new price. And so they were on the wall forever, and I'd go to Guitar Center. First of all, people would just steal the batteries out of the Robotuners. So you had to like track down one that had a battery, put it in there, but then one of the strings would have been like detuned to the point where it just wasn't picking up a tune anymore, you know? Like it's just so floppy that it wasn't even ringing at a specific note.
So floppy.
And then to try and like manually... I bet if you got familiar with the interface and everything, it would be fine. Which I guess if you have it on all your guitars, Phil's going to be way familiar with it.
What?
With the Robotuner.
I'm going to be, all my guitars.
But it's
well,
worst
you
case
only
scenario,
have
it was very
2
bad.
guitars at the moment.
Okay. What's our third? Do we have a third category?
No, there's just 2 today. 2 categories. I thought they were pretty good, though.
You did? I'm glad somebody thought that.
I mean, I can come up with something real quick. Okay, here we go.
I don't think that's the recipe for success.
No, the third category is where are you going to get your suggestions from? Which Facebook group will you choose? I'm just kidding.
Jatipwa, obviously.
Yeah, you got to stash, mash, and trash these Facebook groups, the gear groups.
The Eventide Rose and the Seymour Duncan whatever are pretty similar, like size-wise. They're the same price. They're both $350, which is insane. But that'd be pretty good, like mini board. Just the Seymour Duncan Foos and the Eventide Rose.
That would be pretty cool. Maybe throw on a keyboard tuner.
Yeah, throw your keyboard player on there. Somebody has to just have one of those old tuners on their board, right? Just Velcro to their board with the little the little needle.
Because it has in and out, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't like. I think it just bypasses.
Does it have out too?
Well,
yeah.
I know that like
I think it just bypasses it no matter
the
what.
The super cheap ones just have the in, but like.
But I had like my first electric guitar was a Yamaha Strat copy. What were they called? Like an RG? Is that
Pacifica.
A Yamaha or an Ibanez?
No, the Yamaha Pacifica.
Yeah, probably so. And it came in like a little, it had like a little 8-inch amp and a tuner and stuff like that. And it came with one of these. I still have this tuner too. It's brown plastic, but it had an in and an out.
I had the like silver Boss tuner. You know, the one that's like just like gray. It's like a gray box.
Yeah, totally.
It takes like a AA battery.
Yes.
It's not fancy. Not as fancy as this one that I offered to you.
Not the TU-15.
Or the TU. No, it's like
It's like the TU-1.
I don't even think they make it anymore. Yeah, it probably was like TU-1.
I think it might have been the TU-15 if you go look at it. No, because it is pretty. That has like a bunch of. It has a little built-in microphone and stuff.
Yeah, it did.
I think it might be that. You can tell that one's like super old.
I don't remember. Anyway, have you guys seen this? You heard about this?
Y'all seen
about this thing?
Hear about this thing? No.
This Ocean. You know how? So Oh, it was not the TU-15. The Electro Harmonics had this Ocean's 11 pedal, and then they came out with the or what was it? The Canyons, I guess. The Canyons, and then the Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Now they have the Mod 11. Have you seen that? The Electro Harmonics Mod 11 is in the same format, and it's basically, I'm sure it's built on the same platform, but it gives you 11 different modulation effects in like a compact form.
Interesting.
So you got tremolo, harmonic tremolo, vibrato, univibe, coarse, rotary, flange, I think through zero flanger, phase, pitch shift, and filter.
Wild.
And it's all in this little box for $150, which is pretty cool.
I just bought an Ocean's 11. Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
I didn't. How?
Let me know what you
When
think
did that
about it
happen?
when you.
What are you
have
doing buying
opinions
pedals and
about
not telling us about it?
I've had a lot going on.
it. Yeah.
Whatever.
Did you buy it from someone local?
I just lowballed somebody and got a decent price.
How much did you pay for it? I'm just kidding.
Tell us. I'm not kidding. Tell us how much money you made, too.
How much did you spend?
I'm working on it.
They're like $150
$70?
right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's kind of wild because it's basically like their take. It's like a much less functional, like big box. It's like the big
109,
box.
not the best
Strymons.
price, but
109,
But it's such a
not bad.
new pedal that's.
But here's the thing: when I was listening to demos, and you said this one's mod. It has a bunch of mod, like the Ocean's 11 does.
Yes, but
like the possibility.
they're like it's like modulated reverbs.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. But it has like.
But like
you're
tremolo.
talking like the. Yeah.
So, but even the tremolo one is reverb and tremolo,
Yeah. But still,
which
though,
is
like,
fine. I'm saying that's
buying-
cool, but I'm saying
Yes.
it's not like
It
if
has
you
much more modulation options than a reverb pedal normally has. But it's
And if
not
you
a,
already
it's
have
not a modulation pedal.
your reverb, then you don't want to add a reverb and tremolo to your reverb. You just want to add tremolo, but
I mean, you can't.
but
tell
that
us
is
what we
crazy.
want.
Like it does more than just basic because it has the echo mode too, right? The Ocean's 11, which is like delay and reverb.
Yes.
What are you doing? Just like buying
Nice.
cool pedals and not telling us?
But I'm sure you're just going to leave it in
I
shimmer
am.
mode, so the other ones don't matter.
Phil,
Don't you have shimmer?
No, I
reverb?
sold it.
Oh, was it
Yeah.
the father?
you sold your father.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just buy a Moore Shimverb?
How are you like on one hand the weirdest?
$29.99.
You're like the freaking most eccentric musician on one hand, but then your Jatipa board is just like as Jatipa as it can possibly be.
Not
like you're just towing the company line. Jesus
It's
is the company of
You
Jesus.
got your Strymon on there. You got your.
You have an El Capistan.
yes.
What else do you go through your Jatipa, or do you just have one board?
Well, right now it's all in pieces. I pulled everything apart, but okay, let me. It's actually
Is
okay.
this-
He always had one board with two
Should we
signal
save?
pads.
Should we save this for next week?
We should.
Okay.
The biannual make fun of Phil's board.
I'd like to make sure that
Phil,
everyone knows
We
that
never make fun of
they
you.
should join our street crew, give us money, and we appreciate it. If you like what we do, support it. Support the local arts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
support
quit being
the
a freaking
non-local arts.
freeloader.
Quit being a freaking jerk. Give us money.
Quit being such a dill hole.
What's wrong with you? We're going to start instituting a tax. Like
I'm gonna
physical
walk
attacks.
around. I'm gonna walk around like what's his face, the sheriff of Nottingham, collecting the tax.
That was
You
a
know,
weird.
when he like
The family that saves together pays
together, and he like throws the little coin down into the cup, and more coins bounce up, and he takes them.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's the best.
I love that guy. He's the good guy
Oh,
in that movie, right?
man. He's the hero of the story. How come no one's made that movie yet?
Yeah,
What?
like the
Where the sheriff is the good guy? Because Robin Hood is literally
Yes.
a thief breaking the law.
exactly. It's just like all these illegal immigrants, you know. Like if they wouldn't break the law, we wouldn't put them in concentration camps, you know.
Just come legally, follow the process.
We wouldn't have to
You might have
torture
to cut
them
that
and their
part out.
children if they
That's
just,
fine.
follow directions.
That's like on Silicon Valley. Remember when Guilfoyle's like Canadian, so he has to go
Yeah.
get his paper, and then Dinesh is all he's like, he was done before I even parked the car. It's like it took me like 3 months to get my paperwork done. Just do it the legal way. Everyone has the same fair chance. That's all I'm saying.
Especially if you're white. That's
Yeah,
a weird
everyone's
thing.
equal. Except some people are a little bit more.
Most of my traveling has been either in Africa or in the Philippines. And it's weird being in Brazil because Brazil's kind of like the United States from a skin color standpoint, that there's just a very broad spectrum. And so there's just like white people in Brazil. So people would just like talk to me in Portuguese.
Oh yeah.
Like they didn't know, like nobody in Africa thinks
that you're
African,
local and you
obviously.
speak the language. Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like nobody goes up to me in the Philippines and starts speaking Tagalog to me. But yeah, so that was an interesting dynamic.
Tagalog to me.
Folks, thanks for friendship. Thanks for
I love
tuning
that
in.
place. That's where Bush and Live are playing, right? Tagalog to me.
Yeah.
Dude, listen to this. I was
in
listening to
Tagalog
another
to me.
podcast. A podcast that I listened to called The Fundamentalists, and the dude on that podcast went to the Bush Live show.
Dude.
And he was talking about it.
The bummer, though, like in looking at it, because you can go look up the set lists and stuff. Our Lady Peace. Do you guys like? I love Our Lady Peace. Like they're probably in my top 25 bands of all time.
I do not.
Bush I like a lot, and Live I'm kind of indifferent about. But like Our Lady Peace is the first opener, and it looks like they're only playing 4 or 5 songs, which is a bummer to me.
Really?
Surprising.
Yeah.
I'm sure like Bush and Live, they're like co-headlining, so they're probably paying like an hour and a half each
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably such a long
I
show.
I think they might even be like alter. Well, from what I can tell, Bush, the shows, the set lists I've looked at, it looks like Bush is headlining, like they're the last act. But I could see them like alternating too, you know, or one night it's Live and one night it's Bush or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Where do you find the set list? You go to setlist.fm.
Yeah, like I just Google, you know, Bush Live.
Bush Live.
Yeah, I just go to Google and turn safe search off and look for Live Bush and just see what I come up with.
Artist.
Click on the
Bush.
first thing.
Both of those bands have like names that
Really
are
hard
difficult.
to name
Live
to
is
Google.
such a terrible band name, and like if they, like I feel like that band name could not exist nowadays because nobody would be that dumb.
Live band.
Yeah, like I'm gonna look for like live concert videos. Oh, good luck. Like you just have to search for a song name basically.
That's funny.
Live music. Yeah, like what are they gonna? Because like a lot of bands that have kind of standard names, they'll put music on the end for their URL.
Yeah.
It's like livemusic.com. No, that's not gonna work,
Bush music.
dude. That's not. You know, chin music is like when you punch someone. What's Bush music? Gave him some Bush music.
That's what
Thanks
you
for
end the
friendship.
episode on. Thanks for friendship.
Thanks for friendship.